There's a kind of silence that doesn't feel like peace. It creeps in after another long night of pretending everything's fine. She's in the other room, scrolling. You're on the couch, staring at a blank screen. No words, no warmth, just that heavy air between you, like something sacred has been lost, and neither of you wants to admit it. You tell yourself it's just a phase, that all couples drift sometimes, that love matures and passion fades, and this is just what grown-up relationships look like. But deep down, a quieter truth lingers. You're not just drifting apart, you're disappearing. Piece by piece, you become a version of yourself you barely recognize. You filter what you say to keep the peace. You doubt your own instincts. You stay up late questioning your worth, your choices, and whether the slow erosion is what love is supposed to feel like. And yet, you stay. Not because it's good, not because it's right, but because walking away feels like failure. This is how strong men get stuck. Not in chaos, but in comfort, in the slow suffocation of something that once felt safe. And over time, you begin to confuse endurance with strength, loyalty with sacrifice, love with survival. But let me say this clearly, relationships aren't supposed to make you smaller. You weren't born to shrink around someone else's insecurities. You weren't meant to walk on eggshells or second-guess every feeling just to maintain the illusion of harmony. There's a line you'll eventually cross, not loud or dramatic, but internal. It's the moment you realize that loving her is costing you your self-respect. And no matter how long you've been together, no matter how many memories or shared plans or promises are in the mix, that cost is too high. This isn't about hate. It's not about blame. It's about clarity. It's about waking up to the quiet damage you've been tolerating for too long and reclaiming the man you were before you let her at him. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 signs that your relationship isn't just struggling, it's stripping you of your identity. And if any of these sound familiar, I'm not here to tell you to fix her. I'm here to help you choose you. Because sometimes the most masculine thing a man can do is walk away with his dignity intact. If you've been losing sleep, losing focus, losing yourself, it's not love anymore. It's survival. And real men don't survive in silence. They rise in it. Let's begin with the first red flag, the one that slips in quietly, the one that confuses your mind before it ever touches your heart. It starts small. You tell her something bothered you. She says it didn't happen. You bring up a moment that hurt. She laughs and says you're remembering it wrong. You express how something made you feel, and suddenly you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much. And just like that, you stop trusting your gut. That's how it begins. Not with violence, not with yelling, but with quiet, calculated distortion. She doesn't need to control you directly. All she has to do is make you question your reality just enough, and you'll begin to police yourself. You stop bringing things up because it always turns into a debate. You walk on eggshells to avoid being told you're crazy. You hold your truth inside, telling yourself maybe she's right. Maybe you are overreacting. But here's the truth no one told you. When you start apologizing for how you feel just to keep the peace, you're not in a relationship anymore. You're in a mind game, one where the prize is your identity. This is what they don't teach men, that gaslighting doesn't always come in flames. Sometimes it comes in soft smiles, clever comebacks, and a woman who swears she loves you while disassembling you from the inside out. You lose your voice quietly. You start to second-guess your instincts. You doubt your memory, your judgment, even your value. And the worst part? You think it's your fault. You think real men stay calm, keep things stable, hold space. But strength without boundaries isn't strength. It's submission. Let me be clear. A woman who truly respects you doesn't weaponize your emotions against you. She doesn't twist your words to make herself feel better. She doesn't edit your truth just to preserve her comfort. She listens, even when it's hard. She honors your experience, even if she doesn't agree. She makes space for your reality because she wants to love all of you, not just the parts that serve her. If that's not what you're getting, then you're not being loved. You're being managed. So stop negotiating with someone who benefits from your silence. Stop debating with someone who enjoys making you doubt what you know. This isn't about confrontation. It's about clarity. You don't need to scream to be heard. You just need to walk calm, steady, final. Because when your peace is under siege, your duty isn't to fix the relationship. It's to protect the man you spent a lifetime becoming. She may try to rewrite the story, but you don't have to live in her version of it. But the erosion doesn't stop at your reality. It moves deeper into your values, your limits, your lines of sand. Because the next sign isn't just psychological. It's personal. It's about what happens when your no longer means anything. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the lines that define who you are and what you will not become for anyone else. But when you're with a woman who has no respect for those lines, she won't crash through them like a storm. She'll step over them slowly while telling you it's because she cares. You'll tell her, "I need space tonight." She'll guilt trip you for being distant. You'll say, "I'm not comfortable with that." She'll accuse you of being insecure. You'll ask for respect, and she'll give you a lesson in why your expectations are unreasonable. This isn't love. It's quiet invasion. And the longer it continues, the more you begin to confuse control for connection. You start adjusting your needs to avoid her reactions. You soften your voice, your tone, your truth, just to avoid triggering her disapproval. You shrink, thinking maybe being small is what keeps the relationship safe. But here's what every man must understand. If she disrespects your boundaries, she does not respect you, period. There's no love deep enough to excuse the erosion of your self-worth. There's no passion strong enough to justify the slow collapse of your standards. Because once a woman sees that your no can be argued with, she will stop hearing it altogether. Not because she's evil, but because you taught her it was negotiable. And that's on you. You see, men are often told to be understanding, to be flexible, to compromise. But there's a difference between being grounded and being overrun. You weren't built to bend endlessly. You were built to stand. A strong woman won't fear your boundaries. She'll respect them. She'll see the man they protect. She'll admire your discipline because she knows that a man who guards his peace is a man who knows his worth. But a woman who tests every line you draw, who pushes past your no like it's just a challenge, isn't challenging you to grow. She's challenging you to disappear. So ask yourself this. How many times have you watched her cross the line and convinced yourself it was love? How often have you traded your peace for her comfort? And how long do you think you can keep doing it before you lose the parts of yourself that once made you whole? This isn't about controlling her. It's about controlling your environment. It's about knowing that the energy you allow is the energy you become. So draw the line, not with anger, not with drama, but with unwavering clarity. You don't need her permission to protect yourself. You only need the courage to mean what you say and the strength to walk when it's ignored. But even boundaries aren't the full picture, because some women don't break you with disrespect. They do it by playing helpless. They become the victim in every story. So you'll carry every ounce of blame. There's a kind of manipulation that doesn't raise its voice. It doesn't insult. It doesn't accuse. It simply folds itself into helplessness and lets you carry the guilt. She makes a mistake, but you caused it. She lies, but says you push her there. She snaps, but blames your tone. Every moment of disrespect becomes your fault. Every argument becomes your lesson to learn. And at first, you defend yourself. You lay out the facts. You try to reason. But over time, you stop, because no matter what happens, she finds a way to be the victim. And if you're not careful, you become the villain in a story you never wrote. You start apologizing just to keep the peace. You take on blame that isn't yours. You begin questioning your emotional reactions. And slowly, you lose yourself trying to protect her version of the truth. This is how strong men become silent. Not because they're weak, but because they're exhausted. Because carrying the emotional weight for two people breaks something inside. And if you've been there, you know, it's not the shouting that drains you. It's a constant emotional gymnastics, twisting yourself into something smaller just to make her feel bigger. Here's the truth most men don't want to face. A woman who always plays a victim is allergic to accountability. She doesn't want resolution. She wants protection from responsibility. She weaponizes her emotions to keep you off balance. So you're always trying harder. always doing more, always fixing things that were never yours to fix. And if you let it continue, you will become the emotional mule of the relationship, strong enough to carry her damage, but never strong enough to heal yourself. A real relationship isn't one where you're always explaining, justifying, or apologizing. It's one where both people own their part, where both take responsibility, where conflict leads understanding, not character assassination. So the next time she cries without clarity, plays innocent without honesty, or blames you for the wound she refuses to face, pause and ask yourself, are you in a relationship, or are you her emotional escape plan? Because here's the truth. No amount of effort can save a man who's constantly blamed for someone else's emotional immaturity. Sometimes, strength isn't in fixing her. It's in choosing not to carry what was never yours. You are not her therapist. You are not her emotional punching bag. You are not her excuse to stay the same. You are a man, and if she can't own her actions, you owe it to yourself to walk. And then comes the quietest theft of all, the theft of your time. She won't scream. She'll just delay, reschedule, and slowly teach you that your time means nothing. Time is the most brutal currency. You don't get refunds. You don't get extensions. You spend it once, then it's gone. But when you're the woman who doesn't respect your time, she's not just stealing minutes. She's showing you exactly how little she values your life. It starts with small things. She says she'll be there, then cancels last minute. She makes plans, then changes them when something better comes up. You try to talk, to connect, to build, but you're always met with distraction, delay, or disinterest. At first, you rationalize it. You tell yourself she's busy, that life is chaotic, that it'll get better. But slowly, you start noticing a pattern. You're always the one waiting, always the one adjusting, always the one putting in more. And every time you bring it up, she shrugs it off. You're overthinking it. You're being dramatic. It's not that serious. But let me tell you something every man must hear. When a woman minimizes your time, she's minimizing you. She's saying that your schedule, your priorities, your life are less important than hers. And if you let her treat your time like it's disposable, you're teaching her that you are disposable. Because a woman who truly respects you, she shows up, not just physically, but with presence, with consistency, with intention. She doesn't keep you in limbo. She doesn't give you half attention. She doesn't act like your time is something she can borrow, burn, and then ask for more. Your time is your life. It's a measure of your purpose, your mission, your legacy. And every minute you waste on someone who doesn't value, it is a minute stolen from the man you're supposed to become. So if you're in a cycle of being rescheduled, deprioritized, or treated like a backup plan, ask yourself, is this love or is this convenience? Because love respects, love honors, love shows up. You don't need her to be perfect. You just need her to care enough to not waste the one thing you can never get back. So the next time she cancels, makes you wait, or treats your time like an afterthought, don't argue, don't beg, don't over-explain. Just observe. Because once you see the pattern clearly, you'll realize she's not too busy. She's just not invested. And that's your cue to stop showing up for someone who only values you when it's convenient. Walk, not because you're bitter, but because your time matters. And a man who knows that doesn't wait for people to figure it out. But there's one more shift. Subtle, silent, and dangerous. It's when she stops trying altogether, because she believes you won't leave. And she stops pretending she needs to earn your presence at all. There's a moment in every relationship when effort fades, not because life got busy, not because stress took over, but because one person stopped fearing the loss of the other. At first, she cared. She listened. She showed up. She wanted to know your thoughts, your struggles, your world. You felt seen, respected, desired. But slowly, something shifted. The compliments disappeared. The check-ins turned to silence. The little things, the smile when you walk in, the way she used to ask how your day was, gone. You didn't notice it at first, because you loved her. You filled in the gaps. You made excuses. You took on more. But over time, her apathy started to echo. louder than any argument, colder than any distance. She stopped trying, not because she couldn't, but because she didn't think she had to. She assumed you'd always be there, that your loyalty meant she no longer needed to earn it. And here's the quiet tragedy. You accepted it. You started doing double the work, trying to reignite the spark alone, hoping she'd notice the weight you were carrying. But love that becomes one-sided isn't love. It's labor. And no matter how strong you are, no man is meant to carry connection alone. The truth is simple. When a woman stops putting in effort, she's revealing her level of investment. And when you stay, despite the neglect, you're revealing yours. That's not loyalty. That's fear. Fear of starting over. Fear of being alone. Fear that maybe this is the best it gets. But let me remind you, a real man doesn't stay where he's tolerated. He stays where he's valued. And value shows up in action, in consistency, in care. If she stopped trying, stopped growing, stopped listening, stopped loving, then she's telling you without words, I don't believe you'll leave. She's banking on your silence, on your fear, on your endurance. But endurance has a limit, and dignity has a price. So don't beg her to care again. Don't remind her of what she used to do. Don't hold on to a version of her that no longer exists. Instead, remember who you were before you started settling, before you started carrying the whole thing alone. And ask yourself, is this what I'm worth? Is this how I want to be loved? Because if the answer is no, then don't explain. Don't argue. Just move. Effort should never be one-sided. And love should never feel like a job. When she stops trying, you start walking. So where does that leave you now? Standing at the edge, not of the relationship, but of your own awakening. You don't need a fight to justify your exit. You don't need proof, permission, or one last conversation. When a relationship costs you your confidence, your peace, and your identity, you already have your answer. Most men wait too long. They wait for things to change, for her to come around, for a sign that it's safe to leave. But brother, here's the truth you've been avoiding. You are not safe in a space that requires you to betray yourself to stay. The man you used to be, he's still in there. Beneath the exhaustion, the compromise, the emotional confusion, he's waiting for you to stop negotiating with your pain and start walking toward your power. And power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's the silence of a man who has nothing left to prove. The calm of a man who chooses solitude over disrespect. The strength of a man who walks, not because he hates her, but because he finally loves himself. So take this moment to get brutally honest. Not with her, with yourself. Are you proud of the man you are in this relationship? Or are you surviving by shrinking? Because no matter how long you've been with her, if staying means slowly losing yourself, then leaving isn't giving up. It's growing up. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your breakdown. You owe yourself your return. To clarity, to discipline, to truth. So stand up, gather your dignity, and walk, not in anger, not in rage, but with the quiet, steady power of a man who finally remembers who he is. And if she ever wonders why you left, let her sit with the silence. Let her meet the echo of everything you used to give her. Because real men don't stay where their value is forgotten. They walk, they rebuild, and they never look back. If this message hit home, then it's time to stop scrolling through advice and start rebuilding yourself. Subscribe to this channel if you're a man ready to lead with strength, silence, and self-respect. Not the loud kind, the kind that speaks for itself, through action, clarity, and unshakable presence. New videos every week to sharpen your mindset, protect your peace, and remind you that walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. You're not alone in this. You're not broken. You're just getting started. Welcome back to your power.